Hey everybody, it's Duel from the Fundamentalists, and I'm going to be here talking about the brand new Ghost album Prequelle that just dropped this last Friday. No band manages to polarize metalheads quite as much as Ghost does, quite frankly, because maybe the people that hate them don't actually think they're metal. Looking at you, Richard. But despite that fact, Ghost has skyrocketed to the top of rock and metal charts. They're insanely popular, and with the release of their new album, they're sure to find some new fans. However, the question remains is whether or not that new record actually lives up to the hype or really justifies any of the hype around Ghost. And the answer is yes or no. Now, when the lead single Rats came out a couple of weeks ago, fans, including myself, I count myself as a Ghost fan, were pretty excited with that classic heavy metal riffing that you heard in the verses, something that you would hear, like, on a 80s Ozzy Osbourne record. And when the album came out, after giving it a few listens, and now I've probably heard it about 10 times now, I'm a little disappointed in the almost bait and switch that was pulled there. In the same way that when Infestus Suman came out following Opus Eponymous, I was a little disappointed in that the record wasn't quite as heavy or metal as the record preceding it. And now I feel like the same thing has happened. When Meliora came out, I was excited the fact that the band had gone in a more heavy metal direction coming off of Infestus Suman. But after Rats on this record, Prequelle, and then the following track, Faith, which ironically is probably the heaviest track they've ever written, the album really tails off as far as heaviness goes. It definitely gets way more into power ballads, which are still really good songs. See the Light and Which Image are great Ghost tracks, and not just great Ghost tracks, they're great songs in general. And they're dripping with personality and evil and charisma. Another thing that this album does, which I'm a big fan of, is that it takes a lot of risks. There are two instrumentals on this track, and on this record, which when was the last time a major rock record that's getting radio airplay has two instrumentals on the record? And they're both really good. One of them even has a saxophone solo, which I know bust out the torches and pitchforks at that point, but if you don't think Ghost is metal, then fucking the saxophone solo isn't gonna change your mind or make you hate them anymore because you already fucking hate them. However, for those of us who don't hate them, the sax solo fucking rules. It works. It really does work. The last track of the record, I'm not a big fucking fan of. I kind of wish they had cut it out. Well, actually, instead of cutting it out, I wish they had included the Pet Shop Boys cover of It's a Sin, because I think Ghost does it absolutely brilliantly and would have been a great way to actually close the record. I'm going to give Ghost some pretty high praise here. I feel like Ghost is a great band at writing fucking anthems, like straight up rock metal anthems. Whether the songs are heavy or not, the lyrics are dripping with fucking evil. Quotable things that, like, if you were to tell, your church going grandmother about them, she'd fucking die of a heart attack. But she could probably hear Ghost perform that song on the radio, like many of my friends, religious friends, have, and been like, oh, I really like that song. Until I tell them, do you know what he's saying? Are you paying attention to what he's actually saying? And it tends to be a different story. So just to kind of wrap it all up, the new record, Prequelle, isn't going to change your mind. If you hate Ghost, you're going to fucking hate this record. If you like Ghost, I think you'll like this record. However, I have been talking to some friends who are kind of disappointed with it. It's not that heavy. It's kind of short. Honestly, it probably could have been an EP, maybe even should have been an EP, although I'm a big fan of the instrumental tracks. But if you take out the instrumental tracks, the first track, which is an intro, which is just I think it's a little bit of a misstep. It's just like people singing, kids singing Ring Around the Rosie in like a little creepy way while the melody from the upcoming track, Rats, is playing. It's kind of pointless. I mean, I guess it sets a mood, but I wasn't a big fan of it. And if you cut out the last track of the record, which I also wasn't a big fan of, then you kind of have like a 6-song EP at that point. So maybe it could have been an EP. Maybe it is a tad underwhelming for a brand new full-length Ghost record, especially coming off the awesomeness that was Meliora. At the end of the day, I'd give this record a 7. Yeah, 7 out of 10. If you disagree, let us know. Hit us up on the Facebook page at The Fundamentalists. You can visit us on Instagram at The Fundamentalist Podcast. You can email us any of your questions, concerns, or just general disdain for me and Dan's existence at thefundamentalistpodcast@gmail.com. You can also visit the official website at The Fundamentalist, and we are now also available on iTunes. Thank you very much for listening or watching.